Party people, what's going on? Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com. I want to welcome you guys back to another special episode of Blue Death After Dark. This is by popular demand. For the second week in a row, we wanted to really give a chance for the fans to join the show and give their candid thoughts on all that's going on in Aggie land. And guys, we had a big night tonight at Athletic Town Hall meeting hosted by Earl Hilton and his crew over there in the athletic department. So we're going to talk about that, kind of just do a deep dive onto what some of the things he talked about tonight. We're also going to talk about the rest of the footballs. And there was a little small controversy with the site early on in the week. Might have to address. Based on last night's show, get some feedback on that. Last week's show, get some feedback on that. So we'll talk about all that tonight. You'll be here for, our regular time. But let me introduce, of course, my two co-hosts. I cannot do anything about my guys. First up, former A&T wide receiver and Greensboro native, my man Dougie Fresh Brown. What's up, Doug?
Hey, what's up, guys? Aggie Pride, man. Aggie Pride.
Definitely. It's been I hear you doing it. That's enough. That's enough, man. Hey, and of course, the man in the middle, always speaking facts, is not talking riddle. Long-time A&T insider, beat right on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades. Current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF. And my right-hand man, Mr. Craig Turner. What's up, CT?
Hey, where you pride, guys? Back. Good to see everybody back in one piece this week. And it's interesting. Been an interesting evening so far. So
yeah. So we want to do a Blue Death After Dark again. Usually we know on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9:30. If it's your first, we normally do our inside the. That's the format where we kind of have sometimes we have special guests. We do like different segments, football team, the upcoming week, and break down film stuff. But tonight we really want to give the Aggie Nation a chance to share their thoughts, and we can all dialogue. So let me actually put the link in the chat because I'm kind of behind. We were cutting up video before the show started. I'm kind of ran a little bit behind. So let me do that. So that's the link. I put the link in that chat. That's the link to the show. I'm going to also give me a second here. I'm going to put the link on Twitter. And I'll also put it on the A&T fan forum. So, all the usual places. And if you want to talk about anything in the next hour and a half, you will definitely want to open up and give people some chance to get stuff off their chest. So, gentlemen, Craig and Doug, were you guys able to watch the big town hall meeting they had tonight via Zoom earlier on about 6 o'clock this afternoon?
Yep.
Well, I was not, man. So I'm on here as a loyal listener today. I'm trying to get caught up. Had another obligation, so can't wait to hear the fans' feedback and the responses of Blue Death Nation and Aggie Nation. Because when you got to talking, I might have missed something. I got to catch me up.
All right, so Craig, I'm gonna let you kind of steer the ship right now because I thought it was very impactful. And just to give you some inside baseball, I'm gonna take 100% credit for the event actually happening, right? Because I suggested this exact same thing to Earl not this past Monday, but the previous Monday after the press conference. And I said, you know what? It's good for Coach Brown to stand up here each week and give his, overview of the program. But I think fans will actually want to hear from you on just and everything else. He said, you know what? Let me consider that. I'll talk to Brian, see if we can make it happen. And lo and behold, the next day, a couple of days later, he put out that message to the A&T community. And I think this meeting was specifically targeted to AAF members. So if you weren't a member of the AAF, you might get caught off guard, and because I know they out to AAF email addresses. However, nothing is secret in information age. So I think there was a podcaster off script. He got hold of the link and he was streaming it on his channel. And I guess if you missed it, you might can go there and check it out. And so a lot of people outside of the AAF were able to watch it in real time. But Craig, you were there. You saw the whole town hall. What were your takeaways?
I thought it was informative. I had heard all this, seen all this before in our local chapter meeting, so it was kind of a refresher course for me. And it was pretty much what he had told us at our monthly meeting a few weeks back. With one or two new things in it, informational pieces, but he gave you basically a backdrop of where we are as far as NIL was concerned, as far as the House the settlement regarding image and likeness and Alston funds, and where the conference stands, where we stand, and what our settlement portion of it is going to be, and it gave a basic overview of the NCAA and how that settlement is going to work, because it's several $billion paid out over a 10-year period, and actually A&T comes out relatively unscathed in all that. So we're going to take a small hit, but we can easily absorb that and offset that with other revenue sources. So we're in good shape, athletic, as far as the athletic department is concerned. We're in good financial territory.
Right. Now, Doug, since you missed it, I'll give you some of the highlights. And then, like I say, guys, I put the link in the chat. It's there at the top somewhere. If you need it, just let me know. I'll put it back there again. But we want y'all to join in and give your thoughts. But Doug, so obviously the elephant in was the football program, right? So if you never seen A&T Board Trustees meeting where Earl kind of gives his PowerPoint presentation, this might have been new to you. And I think some of the people on the live stream for off script, they were impressed, because I guess that the transparency that we're used to as Aggies, that's not par for the course everywhere, right? So yeah, and listen, you don't know what you don't know. So that was kind of interesting to see how enamored some of the other HBCU fan bases were by Earl's transparency, right? So basically, he went through the whole spiel about what caused us to get here, pretty much, with the settlements and the lawsuits and the NCAA and all this like that. So we've the diehard Blue Death Valley AAF, everybody, we heard it before, right? But it was good to get a reminder. So great. And Earl's good. Like, Earl's has a law degree, I think, from Texas Tech. He's an attorney by trade. I think when he first got to A&T, I don't want to misrepresent his resume. I think when he first got to A&T, he worked in some form of like compliance. He was like assistant athletic director or something like that. And so he's always good with crossing T's and dotting I's, right? So that's kind of his wheelhouse. He's good at just talking about a whole lot of technical, difficult jargon and breaking it down and presenting it. So I think he excelled there. And I think during the whole presentation, it was like from 6 to 7:30, so about an hour and a half. I thought I will have to give him very high marks. We can all weigh in on how y'all viewed it, but I thought there were some high areas, we'll talk about it tonight, and then I think there was some not so great area. And I think there was one like just complete I didn't like it all. And you guys probably can anticipate what I'm going to say about that. But he talks about football. So the first thing, I guess controversial subject, was his support for the football program. And Doug, I wish I had this up because I actually downloaded it, but my of course, here it is. All right. So Actually, I'll be able to download this crap. Give me a second, fellas, because I actually have the video here. So
Okay.
just to tease it for you, he was asked, why do you can you elaborate on your support for Coach Brown and the A&T football program, or having Coach Brown continue to be the head coach of the A&T football program? And Dougie, he was very non-committal. Okay, he says, yes, I'm supporting him, but he didn't. He said because of some damn personnel rule, and people in the chat help me out with this. I don't work for the state, so I don't know all the guidelines. He said
you can't discuss an employee's performance outside of parameters of the university to an outside
and
school.
and that and I can dig that, whatever the restrictions are, I can dig it. But if you going to my response to that is, if you're going to host an event like this, you need to be able to present some type of communication to where you can address that under your restrictions. You can't just say, and I'll share what you said, Dougie. You tell me if this suffice. Hold on a second. Video. I apologize, guys. I'm not as organized in my info tonight because I was recording as I was prepping.
He just wants you to elaborate on your support for North Carolina A&T head football coach Vincent Brown.
Great question, and I expected that to be the first one.
First of all, can you guys hear that? Okay, am I?
Yeah.
Is that good? Everything's good.
Yeah.
All right. So just like I say, someone from the chat or the town hall submitted this question, and one thing about Earl, he understands when you're answering controversial subject matter, don't be defensive. Just be straightforward and tell like it is, or best you can.
And I can't say much more than I've said right now because it's a personnel matter. I would love for Mr. Hubbard to come to my office when we could speak directly and candidly. This is not the forum to talk specifically about personnel matters. And that's a frustrating answer to give. But I would love to visit with any of you in a different forum or setting to talk about why, high level nutshell, Coach Brown did not create the circumstances that we're in right now and is doing his very best, I think doing a pretty good job working through the situation we find ourselves in as a football program right now. I believe that he is well positioned to lead us through this. Okay,
so let's just pause right there. That's not good. Okay, so and trust me, I'm the person who put this. You ever seen that movie Inception? Chris Nolan, where the guy has somebody falls asleep, and then when they fall asleep, you put an idea in their head to make us think it's their idea. So I pretty much did an Inception move on Earl Hilton. I put this idea in his head to have a town hall, and he listened to me. And so I don't want to be the person who gave him the idea and say, "Oh, you did terrible with my idea." Okay, so I don't want to be that dude, right? But I'm going to call balls and strikes here. And for the most part, he knocked a lot of these questions out of the park. I mean, we're going to give some props on some stuff too. I thought this one, especially early on, this was one of the first questions they threw at him. You got to have a stump speech ready for this. You can't just say, and Earl's not the best at what do you call it? Just like off the cuff conversation. He's very analytical, so he's always thinking and filtering in his head, so it comes off kind of it doesn't flow. So that wasn't great. And if I'm Doug, you tell me, if I'm Coach Brown, I'm not sure I feel more confident, less confident, anything by that response. Well, how do you take that?
I think initially the response indicates that he and Coach Brown are on the same page, that they're clear or they've communicated what the plan is. And, as Earl said, he's not going to speak on personnel matters, just as Coach Brown wouldn't speak on an injury matter, right? It's just kind of par for the course. I think for Aggie fans, those who want to pound the flesh or those who are in support of Coach Brown, the answer is kind of right down the middle, right? He didn't say, hey, we're signing them to a 10-year contract extension. He didn't say we're firing them tomorrow. It's, hey, we don't comment on personnel matters. Coach Brown, he acknowledged that Coach Brown didn't create the circumstances that we're operating out of right now, and that we're going to continue to evaluate things on a week-to-week basis and evaluate performance, and we'll go in whatever direction we need to go in as time continues to, march on. But, I don't have a problem with the answer. We pretty much knew what that answer would be. He's already voiced his support for Coach Brown publicly in the press conference.
Yeah.
So that he's in support of him. Again, he also knows that there'll be a bunch of folks out there ready to take a soundbite or a clip from this press conference and run with it. So the one big question, like you asked about personnel and Coach Brown's support, there's not much for folks to take and run with. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and this here's just when Mrs. Valerie Isaiah, when he referenced, and Valerie, hold on, I'm going to talk about something too. The conversation we had in the comments of the last show. So don't forget.
I agree with Miss Isaiah.
Yeah. So, but when we reference personnel matters, I don't think he was talking about Coach Brown. I think he meant we couldn't talk about the circumstances that Coach Brown was handed because it involved personnel matters. Okay. So, I can understand that, and he might have, but I just don't think that if you're going to have a town hall forum, and then the first question you get is, "Well, I can't really tell you what I want to tell you. Come to my office." That just seems like are you going to, devil's advocate? Are you going to say, he's really doing a good job, but X, Y, and Z is holding him back? Or are you going to say, well, he sucks. I don't want, I'm about to fire him tomorrow. Like it seems there's so much uncertainty that if you answer a question like that, you still creating a void that people are going to speculate, and you can interpret it so many ways. So
yeah, people don't speculate anyway.
That's right, Craig.
Listen, but depending upon what your viewpoint is, or whether you like Coach Brown or not, or where you think he's doing a good job or not, people are going to have already formed their opinions. It's kind of like this presidential election.
Yeah,
everybody pretty much knew months ago which way they were going to go. So there's nothing new. Mm-hmm. There's nothing new coming out except so I didn't expect him. I think it's beyond the pale to think that he's going to come out there and say, well, he was given this and he wasn't given that, and he's having to deal with this, he's having to deal with that. He's not going to get into specifics, and I wouldn't either. What you say on the record versus what you say off the record does have an impact on your present situation. And you just don't get into hypotheticals, because that's what essentially that's what it leads to. So yeah, I don't have a problem with his answer at all.
Okay. So like I say, that's why we having this forum right here, this open dialogue here tonight, because I want to get different opinions. I see Greg Bowman down in the weight room. If you want to join the show, Greg, turn your camera on so we know you're live, and we'll bring you in here. And you can just give your thoughts on tonight's proceedings. So until then, let me keep going through some more of his dialogue. Dougie, since you missed it.
But again, Mr. Hubbard, I'd love to visit with you offline if you'd like to try to give you more detail or background as to my thinking, at least.
But basically what he said was, under the circumstance, he's doing a good job. And what he's saying, he didn't say good. So like I say, there's still ways that you can abide by the personnel matter rules, whatever. You can still say he's on, like put this way, if Coach Brown was 10 and 1 or whatever, at this point, then he would have a whole bunch of flowery celebratory language to champion his hire, right? So for him to say nothing like effusively positive, I think if maybe it's just me being devil's advocate, but you can read into that as a lack of a vote of confidence. So I just think maybe it was a lose-lose situation, but this is something that you created, this forum you created, so you should be ready for it. That's my feedback on that.
We have another one from Brandon Cyrus. He has a question about media rights.
And Dougie, I think this was the home run I was talking about. Brandon, I think he was on our show Brandon Cyrus. I know he's in the chat, right? Yeah. And so Brandon asked him about the media rights, and he dropped some numbers here that I was not expecting him to drop. Yeah, I have not personally verified these numbers, but it sounds good to me. They're verifiable.
Yeah. Everything he said was legit.
Yeah. The only admittedum. What's that word? Somebody in chat tells me. Addendum. Yeah. The only addendum to that was someone said that the Celebration Bowl with ABC is an additional check, is an additional amount to the number he listed for the MEAC. So listen to this, Doug, and tell me what you think.
Deals, how much do we receive from those, and how does that compare with other FCS schools and or conferences?
Me relation deal.
Another great question. I may lean on Shamika at that point as we get into corporate sponsorships generally, but media rights specifically. When we were in the MEAC and the Big South, we were ESPN as a conference. And so we received between $25,000 and $30,000 a year for our media rights. And
now, that's, I don't know if that means a lot to you, but here, listen to this next number, Dougie.
And ESPN owned them all. The CAA is with Flow Sports. The annual media rights fee that we receive from Flow Sports every year is about $130,000.
Hey, record skip. What?
So we can just dead that conversation on which one is a better option for us, right? Like, I don't know about everybody else, but for us, Flow Sports works just fine for me. I can see the games I need to see on Flow Sports for 130. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, but I'm gonna let it run again. But just right there, that's $100,000 annual difference. Now, someone was saying, I think on Blue Death Valley, that's not taking into account the Celebration Bowl payout. So of course, if you win a Celebration Bowl, and you get $8,000. But even
operative word in there is if.
No. But even if
you get to the Celebration Bowl,
but even
$800,000.
But even if you're not a participant in the Celebration Bowl,
as a conference member, there's a revenue share.
There's a revenue share, and I think that was like $70,000 or $80,000 in addition to the $30,000. So it's not like so. And now, once again, there's somebody on BlueDeathValley.com message board. I'm just telling you what the feedback was in real time for I guess not a rebuttal to that, but just addition to that. So $30,000 plus 70 is 100, which is closer to 130. But still 130 straight out the pocket. And then listen to this, Dougie.
I was about to say, is that including the linear? Did it?
There you go. There you go. So listen to this.
For A&T's media rights for the streaming broadcast that we put out. They also allow us to monetize our broadcast, our streaming broadcast on local linear networks. You may have noticed that we broadcast our home football games this year on ABC 45, CW 48?
My 48.
My 48. So local linear broadcast here in the Triad region. We will expect to do the same thing with basketball. We won't do all home games, but we're looking at a package right now of 5 men's and 5 women's games that will be carried on our local ABC station for our fans within 150 miles of A&T. That is an option or an opportunity that ESPN does not ever give. Additionally, we have a chance, I think 3 times this year, we'll be playing on CBS, on the national CBS channel. 3 of our basketball games will be broadcast on CBS, again, their national channel, which is another opportunity that we did not have with previous media partners. So the 25 to 28 to 30,000 with ESPN versus the 130 with the Flow Sports, plus the local linear broadcast, plus the CBS broadcast.
Wow. Take a bow, Earl. That was awesome. Listen. And Earl, this almost start hating on you, all right? How come you're not standing on top of the mountains and telling that to everybody? That is a win, okay? When you got the Samaj Marshborn Thrillers of the world talking about, you need to step your game up, that's got to be the first thing out of your mouth. Like, look here, dude, I'm bringing $100,000 extra on a TV deal with room for more. I mean, and listen,
and it's more than that, and it's more than just 100,000. The total revenue on that is considerably more than just $100,000.
Earl, help me help you. Okay, this is a win. Promote that. That's good stuff. If those numbers are accurate, and I haven't verified, but I have no reason to doubt it. That's a savvy power move by an athletic director, and that shouldn't be, and I'm a print journalism guy, right? So they call it hiding the lead when you put the main event of your article 15 paragraphs down. Like, they bring that to the top. That's the stuff you need to tell people when you talk about the good things happening at A&T. That our broadcast deal with CAA and the linear component is a win. Okay, so we kind of he then went to more details. A lot of us about scholarships. There's going to be changes, Dougie. There's going to be changes with the roster sizes now moving forward. I think starting next year, to where FBS schools can offer more scholarships to 85. However, there's a roster limit, so you can't have like 150, 200 walk-ons. You got to have only 100. I think 105 was the number. So that's going to mean, like, some of the guys, we have more than 105 players on the roster. So some of your walk-ons not going to get a chance to even walk on. And as much as we need depth, especially this year, that's going to have some type of impact. He also has more doom and gloom about how all the resources are going to start getting funneled to the revenue sports, which means some of the, especially the male Olympic sports, non-revenue, might be on the chopping block, because you just cannot justify having 10 men's tennis players when you're trying to find out ways to pay the second string linebacker a couple $1,000 in NIL. And so
I mean, college athletics is big business, man, and that's not just an A&T thing. There's talks about the Big Ten and them cutting a lot of their Olympic sports.
He said that.
But listen, man, how about that? All right, we're on the same page then. But I mean, it's a bottom line business, and those sports are bringing in money, and it's kind of telling you where the focus is going. So again, I think A&T is well positioned to be a player in the game wherever we are. The conference affiliation didn't matter as much. Obviously, with the TV deal, it helps in some areas, but we're active, right? We're not stagnant. We're not in a position where we're trapped or unable to make moves. So I like where we are in terms of our flexibility.
And I think, and Craig, you jump in, but I think one of the biggest takeaways from this town hall tonight is that it showed Earl Hilton is not asleep at the wheel. Like, he is actively monitoring the landscape, and he is doing his best to steer us into a favorable direction. Now,
there's no question. Earl's on top of his game as far as charting a course. The financial, being in a good financial situation, creating opportunities from all kinds of opportunities for A&T to expand its brand nationally. Those games on CBS, when he's talking about national network, he's not talking about CBS Sports Network. He's talking about CBS, the big one, Channel 2. To be on that 3 times this year, that's huge. I mean, that's huge. And to be able, people. I know people rag on the move to the CAA, but to be honest with you, it's a smart financial move for us. It really is. I've got nothing but love for the MEAC and the time we spent there, and all the celebration bowls and all that is great. But like Doug said, college athletics now is a business, and we're one of the few athletic departments that operates in the black. And you can count them on about one hand that actually are not dealing with deficits, especially for HBCUs. And to be in the situation that we are now, to be in the position that we are now, is a credit to the Earl's leadership over the 13 years he's been the athletic director.
Okay, I got I got strong opinions on certain things, but I'm going to always call balls and strikes.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay?
Nobody's perfect. Yeah, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And you're always going to hit snags. You're always going to have things that you wish you had done better.
Right. Hindsight 2020. Yeah.
He had a long time admitted that he had preferred that we had not set out to COVID, because that's really set us back as far as our football program is concerned. That 9-year competition really,
Craig,
really hurt.
Now he might say that he might have said that to private to you or your chapter meeting. He ain't never said that public. He ain't never said that public. Yeah, I wish he would say that public.
It was in the Greensboro. It was in the Greensboro record.
No. What he said, I remember the article. What he said was that he regretted not pushing back against the MEAC when they when they eliminated the men's basketball team over a false positive.
Let's call it what it is. When they stole that championship from us, they stole it. Would have been our last championship from us.
The Dunkyard Dogs. That was the Dunkyard Dogs, man. We were gonna go crazy. We so I think we were misconstruing that, but
no, I mean he did say publicly that if he had his druthers, he wanted to play. He wanted to play that spring, and the MEAC, for whatever reason, basically fell apart around. Excuse my language, but fell apart around and blew the opportunity.
I got
SWAC play.
Now help me out, guys.
Play. I mean,
Billy Campbell. That was not a spring season. That was a fall season, right? The SWAC played in the spring.
A 5 or 6 game season, but still,
that was before
they played.
Right, but that was before the basketball debacle, right?
Yeah.
So
basketball
there were a ton of unknowns, right? So I don't fault the decision not to play football that year. It was kind of 50-50, and those who played with mask and did a lot
remember Campbell played, and that's when Campbell really propelled their football program.
They did, but it was a risk, and it was a risk. Right? It was a lot of unknowns with COVID, knowing what we know now. The vaccine, there's been some advancement, in terms of the care for COVID. But back then, nobody really knew. And
then there was the whole deal about I forget that term.
The respiratory situation.
Where they were
not
saying
RSV, but
it was mitochondrial. It's something. It was like you almost. If people were worried about having some deaths on the field, it was crazy. So I don't listen. I understand the situation, but that's really I thought. And this is just I don't want to get off the tangent here. I thought some of the inaction in the leadership that because like a lot of people have told me, coaches, administrators, everyone, and I think Earl might even admit to this. He lets coaches kind of coach. He's not like hoarding over things. Laissez-faire might be the word I would use, right? And I think at that time during COVID, we need a strong man to say we're moving in this direction. This is the way we're gonna go. And I think some universities had that, and they were able to ride out. And it was a risk, but
man, that is a decision that you could lose your job over, right? There were kids opting out of playing during that season. There were literally kids that said, "I don't care what the team is doing, I'm not going out there." Or parents say, "My baby's not going out there." So that was there was just so many unknowns, man. And you always err on the side of caution.
Yeah, I got you.
I got kids' health, in my opinion.
Yeah,
hindsight, man.
Hindsight, you're right.
That break killed us. We were still kings of the HBCU world, and momentum was in our favor. I always say that is the DJ Crossan era when he came in and had to sit out a year, and we were looking at having Crossan and Matt McCain at corner.
My Lord!
North Dakota State that fall, we were still ascending, and I think that break, we had to hit the restart a little bit, but we still had success after that. We still went on to play in a conference championship game in our following year, 2 years later, right?
Yeah, and you got to think too, Doug. That was a prime Jermaine Martin. I think he probably put on some weight.
I think he probably was affected the most by
the
comeback and to sit out. So, but hey.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get back to the breakdown. But that's a good point, Craig. That like Earl, his job, and I guess when he first got to A&T in 2000, was to keep us compliant, and he's continued to take on that responsibility since he's been here. How many years it's been now? I mean, that's 24 years in some capacity. And one thing about Earl, man, I disagree with some things, his decisions he made. No one could question his love, commitment, and just overall service to his university. I mean, that dude's blue and gold through and through. I think I was watching the chats, the responses on the off script thing, and other people don't have that. So
who bangs the table and makes that point all the time? Like, man, we are more fortunate than we realize. Just having some stability, right? Like to say you haven't had an employee that was working either in your athletic department or alongside your athletic department for 20 plus years is phenomenal in itself. So many guys come and go, people climbing the ladder, getting fired, you name it. But I always say Earl has a good idea and a good concept of who we are, who A&T is, where we stand, and he knows where the bones are buried, right? Like Earl knows all the good and the bad about A&T and his athletics program. There's nothing that he doesn't have at least a beat on, right? And we laugh and joke, but that he listens to what you say or hears the show. He hears a lot, and I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So, and bring Troy to the show. T. Roy, what's going on, man?
What's happening, gentlemen?
Hey, good to see you, man. Hey, first of all, T. Roy, before you talk about this town hall, you were a participant at the Aggie Midnight Madness thing, right? I forgot how was that? Can you give us a quick overview on that, how that went down?
Well, man, I really wish okay, it was good. Got to see players. Most of the band was there.
Okay. Students, they come out on a Tuesday night.
Behind the reserve section, across from the court, it's probably like half full. So, and then there were a few people sparsely around on the other side.
Oh.
I wish, for me.
Yeah.
I probably would have done a little bit more exciting stuff around how they did it. But, hey, listen, it was good to see the players, good to see the teams introduced.
Okay.
Most of the band was there.
Okay.
So, a good thing.
Oh, so you're saying they got room to kind of grow the actual operation, the game ops of the event?
Yeah, I think so. So.
Okay.
If I were the event coordinator, I would try to work with making it a little bit more exciting.
Okay, all right, and that's some brutal criticism coming from you, Troy, because usually you rubber stamp everything. So okay, I think hopefully they heard you and they'll take that feedback. All right, but let's talk about tonight. What was your take?
Well, before I go. So I sit courtside, right? So I got over there before they took them all up because it wasn't ticketed. And so when they started introducing the ladies team, I stood up, right, doing my whole clapping thing.
Yeah.
So I felt somebody tap me on the back. Ting, ting, ting. So I turned around and 2 or 3 of the students were like, "Hey, we can't see. Can you sit down?"
Oh, no, they didn't. Hey, they did it. Hold on a second. They did Angry Man from the Martin Show. Sit your ass down. They did one of those.
What was your response? Is my question.
All right, so I did this. I looked at him. I was like, "Oh." And I sat down because, I really said, you know what, this is a student kind of thing mostly. I want them to have a good time, so I'm not going to stand up in front of them.
That's crazy.
We got to.
Oh, man. Hey, man.
You get soft over there, bro. I would expect you to say, "Excuse me, can you stand up?" That's what you're supposed to say. He's not in mid-season form yet, right? This is the same guy that got on, HBCU game day hanging over the rail predicting scores, and now he's Yeah, I sit down. No,
So
he's
I didn't
a
want to
father,
mess up.
so he understands, and he's got, you know.
Yeah,
So
I didn't want to mess up my goodwill because I wore my vote for Kamala shirt.
Gotcha.
Man, that's
All right.
A&T.
So
So did you get a chance to watch the town hall tonight?
oh yeah, I did, but I do want to add one important thing if I can.
Go ahead.
All right, so this whole media rights thing, I think, and it's a couple things here.
Okay.
The Celebration Bowl payout for the MEAC schools, when we were there before they got the new contract, I think it was less than $100,000 to the schools that didn't go. It is probably more now because I think they doubled or they increased the payout for the team that goes, as well as, of course, that means that the payout for the schools will get more. But I don't know that number.
It's probably because there's more slices in the pie now.
Less schools.
There's less schools.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. But I think even with that,
9 schools when we were in MEAC, it was like 9 schools in the MEAC.
And then FAMU, Bethune,
like
us, everybody
left.
Well, but it's not just about fewer schools. It's also about the payout is more for the Celebration Bowl than it was before. So both those things.
The overall pot. Okay.
They ain't that much more.
Okay. So here's what I think is really more important about our deal with Flow Sports.
Yeah.
We basically had the same thing with the Big South, where we were mandated to show all of our football games, our conference football games, all of our men's and women's basketball games, and then we had the option to show whatever in terms of volleyball, softball, and baseball.
Yeah.
So I think that's still the same thing with Flow Sports. We have the option, but I think we show all of those things. We show all of our volleyball. We show all of our softball. We show all of our baseball. But here's the kicker for me, and what I keep saying to people. Mm-hmm. Man, in comparison to the MEAC, they only get a portion of their football and basketball. They don't get anything, I don't think, in terms of baseball, volleyball, and softball. The Big South, of course, they do get all that stuff. But most important for me is that means that the families, friends, acquaintances of our athletes in all of those sports have opportunity to see them play.
It's a recruiting tool. Recruiting tool.
They can be in Hawaii. They can be in South Korea, I think, if they get internet or access to internet, and be able to see their friends and family participate in those sports that neither one of the other conferences get, SWAC or MEAC. Man, that's a big deal to me.
And Troy, once again, I told you this last week.
Branding.
You make some great arguments. No jokes, all jokes aside. You make great arguments, but I hope that the university would pair what you're saying, because, like I say, that's a great thing. That is a recruiting tool. That's a win for the university.
I'm positive that gets communicated during recruiting visits. I'm absolutely positive. And aside from that, you guys, we're forgetting what out of our non-conference games, we had 3 ESPN games that were big and highly televised games. You had the Wake Forest game, the Central game, right? Those are both ESPN games. So we're still on that platform and that network being seen amongst all those who didn't get to see us in the first place. So, I like that we have a good balance. ESPN, Flow Sports, you just mentioned CBS, My Fox 48. We're seen on 4 different platforms. And last year we had the national platform that put us in viewing markets in Texas and California and everywhere else. So we talk about expanding our brand and being visible.
Great point,
all over the place. We're everywhere.
Dougie. That's a great point.
Yeah. Oh, and let me add the asterisk of Amazon Prime just for the band and exposure we received during Thursday night football. That's not exactly athletics, but it's still the brand. It's still that interlocking A&T.
I missed that. Go elaborate on that a second. We had the band on Thursday night.
Not let anyone from the Blue and Gold Market Machine know that you did not tune in on Thursday night during the Thursday night football game to see the combination performance between Big Sean.
Oh, okay, Big Sean. Okay, all right.
Marching Machine and the Fellowship Gospel Choir, right?
Yeah.
We all were out there in LA.
I didn't see it, but I heard about that, and
we'll make sure you get those clips up on the site and on your Twitter. So
that's great.
I'm looking for you.
That's good.
Yeah, let me add a couple other things I kind of left out.
Okay.
Also, whenever we have home games, basketball, softball, volleyball, against non-conference schools. Most of those are put on flow sports too.
Yeah.
So we get those. Now, really important around the difference between the Big South and the CAA is Metropolitan Statistical Area, the MSAs. Of course, the Big South was mostly North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, in these small towns, right? Boiling Springs, a bunch of small towns, right? But man, now in the CAA.
Yeah, let me pause you though. Now, because I gotta be fair. The argument previously when we left the MEAC was that we were in a bus league that was everything was we were the podunk towns that were close by was a benefit. So now you're saying because we're spread off all around the Eastern Seaboard, that's a positive. So it's I understand the game. You're going to promote anything you're doing and say that's a win. But before, when we didn't have those big metropolitan cities, it was still a win because we went to Farmville, Virginia, and all that kind of stuff. And
what's the furthest game we played this year? We're getting ready to play it, right? In next week. Villanova, right?
Yeah.
All right. When we talked about the footprint and less travel, FAM was still in the conference, Bethune was still in the conference. You had the trip to Delaware that cancels.
Yeah, no. Hey, I understand. I'm not mad about that. I'm just saying that now that we're in the metropolitan areas with the TV markets, that's a you can look at it positively. But when we weren't, no one was complaining. But go ahead, Troy.
Yeah. So let me address that.
Yeah.
So each conference has its own good things.
Yeah, everybody has.
The South had its good things in terms of North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia.
Yeah.
The CAA has its good things in terms of getting in front of much bigger audiences. New York, Philadelphia, Boston. And so you got to look. You can't hold on too much to say, well, you all said,
well, you can always
and students in that other league.
No, you can always hold on to stuff. Yes, you can.
Well, I'm just saying,
and it's not always about football either, right, guys? We're talking about some of the non-revenue sports they have to get on the bus and travel.
Right. So not too much. Of course, guess what? The one of the biggest reasons that we moved to the CAA was they said that they were going to split into divisions.
No. I think that was more of a hope. I don't think they ever in writing or even in a memo told Earl Hilton we're definitely going to do this. I think they said, if you join, this might be a possibility. So he never defensively said this was going to happen. He said, they're thinking about doing it, and it still might happen. It still could happen, right?
But we're still playing kind of within a pod of Southern schools, right? We're still playing. We have those same schools that are on our schedule. And we have the lone one flight, the long travel trip a year.
But that's not. Look, this is Blue Death After Dark. No, that's not gaslight, folks. Why do we go to the Troy, True Serum Town? Why do we go to the CAA? Who wanted us to go to the CAA? Was it Earl Hilton or was it Chancellor Martin?
Oh no. So there was a study done. I think it's back 2015, and or something like that. Craig, you might be able to clear me up on this, but a study was done around what conference would be best for us to be in.
Right.
And the study said, based on what we said we wanted to do and where we wanted to be, the CAA was the one. At the time, the CAA was not open for new membership.
I've heard the spiel. I know what they said. But I'm saying, Troy, Chancellor Martin wanted this to happen. He wanted to position his university into a conference with other high research. Yeah, that's the reason why it wasn't about traveling. It wasn't about TV deals. It was about the academic affiliation. Can we agree on that?
Which is how conferences are usually constructed.
I don't have a problem with that, Doug. I'm just saying let's just call a spade a spade. That's not dance around the bush and say it's about we did some study.
Well, what it amounts to is this: when we weren't looking to go to the CAA when we had just got into the Big South. I think we just finished our second year of Big South. The CAA came looking for us. We didn't go looking for them. They came looking for us. They recruited us. Okay, we didn't go out there looking to join the CAA because we knew that we had some things. We still got things to do, but we knew we were working towards that. But that was not something that was on our radar until they came to us, and they recruited us. They went over about a 6-month period where they were basically, recruiting us, and the decision was made: do we go, knowing that we're short and we're going to have to play catch up for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and to be even with those guys as far as facilities and budgets and all that, because or do we stay where we are with the Big South, which was getting into a kind of a shaky situation?
They were losing,
and that really pushed the decision forward. Probably, like I said, 2-3 years for sped up the process by 2 or 3 years, and so now we're here. So at this point, it's hindsight is 2020. Hey, it don't make a damn now. I deal with the day. I deal with the here and now. And the here and now is we're in the CAA, and we're going to be in the CAA, and we'll make the adjustments as we go along.
I had a question, Craig. Why do you think the CAA was recruiting us so hard at that time? Like, why do you think they put the hard press on us? Was it this our attractiveness, or they see some need? They needed what
branding? The brand. They wanted the brand.
Okay.
They wanted the brand. A&T has a unique brand in that we have a huge fan base that follows our team to the pits of hell if we're playing that. Okay. Yes. We don't care. We travel.
Yes,
we travel, we fill it up. Our name is extremely well known, especially on the East Coast. We're an attraction wherever we go, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
If A&T's coming into town, people gonna come out and watch.
Yeah.
And the university is growing at an enormous rate.
That's right.
We're probably maybe less than a year away from getting R1 status now. Running right there with Howard. As far as that is concerned. So the academics of our university is like off the charts now. We have probably the largest. Well, we have 3,000 freshmen come in with a GPAs running like 3.8, something like 3.8 something. To get it was just for them. It was a no-brainer. For them to come after us. So it is what it is. I'd rather be wanted than be on the outside hanging on the running board, running behind trying to catch up. So
that's true.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, at least in football, they did split into divisions, but not in a formal way. They didn't announce North and South.
They did scheduling
kind of mentioned it before. Yes.
Yeah.
So we only go far north past Delaware. Now we'll probably go further because Delaware is leaving and Richmond's leaving, but we only go far north, I think, for one game per year, and then they come to us the next year.
Yeah.
Before this last 2 years, they did that whole pod system, right? And so, yes, it was really done that way, at least in football. Now, all the other sports, it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
But here's what I really would like to see. I would like to see the income statement for athletics in relation to when we were in the MEAC versus the Big South versus the CAA.
Well, you know what? Somebody, West Coast Aggie, he specializes in that. West Coast, if you're reading this, you're hearing this on the forum, because there's like a link, I think, that he produces every year that shows the revenue breakdown for schools, and you can go year by year and find out the percentage on what you did with like tickets and all that stuff. So I think those numbers are there. I think
it's the Knight Foundation. The Knight Foundation.
I got to defer my brother West Coast Aggie. That's his wheelhouse. He knows how to get those numbers, and he puts them on the board every now and then. So hopefully tonight or tomorrow.
But the big issue is travel, because
that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see
that versus the CAA, because I think the CAA is probably less than the MEAC was, but more than the Big South.
Yeah.
So it's not as good as it was before.
Yeah, I would like to see what the travel difference was that 1.5 years we were in the Big South. Did it really move the needle? But Bernice Thomas said, "Thanks, Craig, for being the man like he always is." Also, y'all gotta make sure y'all check out BlueDeathValley.com, especially every Friday. That's when Craig drops a new article, preview of the game, and he's been pretty close with those scores too, man. I think one week he was kind of ambitious and we got blown out, but usually he's within about 2 touchdowns of his final score. But we're gonna talk a little bit about tonight. That was Blue After Dark. We're gonna spend about 5 minutes and talk about William & Mary. That's the game. You still got to. Oh, that's a tough one though. But we'll talk about that later. So let's go back to the town hall because I know Doug didn't get a chance to see it, and some other things we want to comment on.
Can you I put it in the chat. I don't know if Doug saw or heard this, but Earl's initial comments about football.
His initial comments about football?
Yeah. It's at the very beginning.
I might not have that clip, but
you clipped it? Oh, okay.
So
Doug, when you see it, you'll see what he says about football and Coach Brown. All right. That he didn't want to give more detail on later in
I talked about that because somebody asked why you support Coach Brown. And he was like, well, I can't really tell you right now, but if you come to my office, I got a whole bunch I want to tell you. And I was like,
I'm saying he made comments in the very beginning about him, and then later on he didn't want to get into all of that detail.
Okay, all right. So I don't think I have that. Can you reference what he said? Do you remember?
I don't want to mess it up.
All right, fair enough.
Well, other than the fact that he acknowledged that the program wasn't where it wanted to be, and neither was it as far as the coaches were concerned. Didn't feel like they knew they're we're not where we want to be, or I mean that's that was obvious. So
Yeah, and I will add that he's good with Coach Brown. He think he has the right guy for the job and all that. So
okay, now
and he mentioned he didn't create what he came into. So
that was play. That was play. We ran it from the very beginning.
Okay. I didn't know if we missed anything. Yeah, and but my only thing about that, Troy, you tell me how you feel about it, is that if I'm Coach Brown, do I take that as a non-vote of confidence, or is that just if Coach Brown hears that, does he feel one way or the other on those comments?
Nah. Well, I would take his point about personnel matters, that he didn't want to divulge a bunch of stuff, and I would be leaning more towards what he said in the beginning.
Okay, so you think he's all in still? You don't think he's like secretly like, man, I gotta get rid of this dude? You think?
Well, don't get me wrong. I tend to think Earl might have some doubts, but he's still well enough and good enough that he's okay with it.
Okay, Troy, why do you think what has given you that impression that he might have a single doubt? Because you're all thinking he's he needs 2 more years, right? You said it last week. So
yeah. I'm still there.
So what makes you think Earl might have some doubts?
Hey man, we're 1-15 and we're losing bad games.
So
who wouldn't start to have some questions around? Hey, is it what it needs to be? So yeah, I don't think he was where he was when he first hired him.
Okay. Think he moved a little bit.
It might be a 2% drop, right? Something like that.
Yeah. All right. So
on now to Robert Davis. He has some facility questions for you.
Robert Davis. Robert Davis is the real name of DJ Screw for all you Houston hip hop fans. Robert Davis, DJ Screw. Craig, one of your favorites. One of your music collection. Yeah.
DJ Screw.
Chopped up and screwed.
Robert Davis.
Get this one a lot. Will there be? Is there a plan to replace the chain link fence around Truist?
Oh, the Pelican Bay. Somebody actually asked him about Pelican Bay. I cannot believe it.
Stadium. That's one. Is there plans for an additional practice field on turf? individual bucket seats for the reserve section, and are there plans for a new scoreboard? Let me know if you need me to repeat those four items.
So it's yes, yes, no, and maybe. So the chain link fence is an eyesore.
Now, this was another area where I said it was a knockout home run, big win, because it showed that it has empathy for our concerns, right? He's acknowledging the Blue Death talking points, and he's saying, yes, I agree with you guys. It looks terrible. For him just to acknowledge it, he didn't give a lot of details on how they're gonna fix it, but he says we need to fix it. I thought that was great. That once again, just feeling our pain sometimes is enough.
When I started talking about this capital campaign 3 or 4 years ago, the one thing my wife told me says, you must replace the chain link fence around Truist Stadium. That has to be. So yes, that is part of our master plan to turn that into a brick and wrought iron kind of really classy, sharp looking entrance.
Now, granted, this is my pushback, A&T Roy. Okay, he's been here he's been in this capacity since 2011, right? It don't take, how many years is that? 13 years to them knock down Pelican Bay and put up a wrought iron fence. Okay, if your wife told you that on day one, why is it taking 13 years?
He said the capital, since he started discussing the capital campaign, right? It's part of the campaign, not when he signed the contract to be the athletic director.
Why does it take? So he started talking about the capital campaign. Let's just say 2 years ago. Let's just throw that out there, right? Because obviously it's supposed to happen last year, supposed to happen spring of this year. But that's don't get me off on a tangent. Let's just say 2 years. If you want to replace them with chain link fence, it don't take 2 years, man. I'm telling you. Let's not get gas lit on how things work. Okay, it's possible to get things done quicker than that.
Craig, when you say we operating in the black, all right, so that takes some effort, that takes some budgeting, right? So
I'm not.
When you start breaking down the budget, I think if I said, hey, I'd rather put this money on a chain link fence or put it directly towards helping this team win, right? That chain link fence right now.
Do I hire 3 new academic counselors, or do I put up a chain link fence? Which is more important? Those three counselors? Those three counselors are going to keep your players eligible?
I got you.
Or that chain link fence because it's going to be nice and shiny and pretty.
All right, so Doug, what happens next week for you and me on the same day? Next Tuesday, election Tuesday.
We got the anniversary, man.
Okay, so there you go. So we married. So if Mrs. Brown says first thing you need to do, Doug, is this, I think you're gonna listen to it, right? So if she got a mandate from his wife, I think he would put some more effort into finding a way to make the budget work to get us Pelican Bay removed from the premises. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I think guys, I understand what you're saying. This is I'm gonna speak on our little fiasco debacle what happened last week with the show. I haven't forgot about you, Miss Isaiah, right? But now sometimes I'm kind of tongue in cheek. I'm kind of sarcastic. I understand that more things have priority, right? But I do believe that you can find a way to chew gum and walk at the same time. And the fact that and this is me giving him a win, though. I don't want to get off and act like I'm this dog, I'm giving him props for acknowledging that we need to fix the chain link fence. Now I just like to see some elbow grease and figure out a way. I mean, maybe put that as a line item fundraising initiative for the Blue Death Valley people. Not just to take the AAF.
It's in the capital campaign. That's the fundraising. That's a fundraising effort.
Doug, have you seen the capital campaign? Is it released yet? Is it presented? You talk about things that we talked about for 2 years, Doug.
Did you just miss the entire part of the presentation where he talked about the study was they gave him the option of going do it project by project versus going through a gigantic long-term capital campaign? That's a decision that the chancellor and the board of trustees will be making when they meet after Christmas in February. that's when that decision is going to be made. You got to listen to the details.
All right, Craig. What's the
great
thread
point,
about
Craig.
on the website? Is it a long thread about the fence, or was it about the grass? Right now that's addressed, right? You're not complaining, but it would have been. We need to put some money into the grass. Well, we got that covered. I mean, you have to knock things one at a time, man.
Listen, don't
progress is a process, right?
Don't taunt the people on Blue Death. They'll start a thread tonight about that damn fence. It'll be 100 pages by tomorrow. Don't listen.
Well, you can stamp it, you can mark it. What date was it? He said he's gonna address the fence. October 30th. You heard it, right?
All right, let's he actually said he's gonna address it. Go ahead,
yeah, so let me add that priorities do exist.
I know,
but also priorities change, right?
Yeah.
And Earl doesn't exist in a vacuum. He can't just go make decisions on his own. Yeah. Well, we're doing this, we're doing that. Matter of fact, he's constrained by, I think, facilities in this way, because he doesn't make facilities decisions. I don't believe.
Well, let me push back on that too. Okay. If we don't know specifically where that line ends and begins, it's like the Rorschach test. If you want to see, like, he's all powerful, you're going to give him props for the good stuff. But then if you want to say, if you want to defend him, he's like, well, he can't only do this. He needs the state to 15 people got to sign off with it. So you got to pick and choose. If you're going to give him props, which I'm giving him props now. I said that was a great presentation. Now I'm just saying, like, let's take the thing to the next level. Let's actually get it done. I'm glad you acknowledge it. Let's get it done. That's what I'm saying.
So I agree with you 100%. He can drive certain things much harder, or will drive things much harder than he might do other things. So the question becomes the things that he's driving.
His party.
And sees what's out there. I got this whole big list. Which one am I going to push the most? Matter of fact, I would say this. When they change that lighting in Corbett, man, that's going to make a big difference. Because I was told a few years ago when I asked about dimming the lights like they do in the NBA, I was told, well, we don't have budget for that. And they're not going to put money in here for that.
Thank you, Troy.
Later, they changed the light. Now, it wasn't Earl that told me that. I want to tell you.
Did we consider that maybe the price of the lighting changed? I mean, technology's improved. LED lights are a thing now. It's easy. High schools have those lights now. So
they're a lot cheaper now than
they're a lot cheaper. Yeah,
they're a lot cheaper now than they were 5 or 10 years ago.
Okay,
I think Thriller, without you seeing his priority list and knowing what he has in priority, it's hard for us to make any decisions on that.
Of course, and that's why we have this show, Blue Death After Dark, so we can just give our opinions, our comments on the stats of things. And like you say, that there was I think it debuted during the WNIT run last year, where they did the it's kind of like a filter on the lights, where it makes it look like it doesn't, the lights don't go off. Something actually covers them up, and I think it's like a remote control thing you can kind of turn on and off. And so we have this cool light show, pregame light show that debuted last tournament. Now, I'm not familiar with you guys, but I know I didn't ask for that, right? So that was a decision they made that they felt was improving the game operations. That could have been money they used something else. I'm just saying they made a decision on prioritizing spending, right? So you can't just say the stuff they don't do is not their fault. They made a decision. This is what we're gonna spend our money on. So that's all I'm saying. All right.
And you save money with that lighting system. I believe the bulbs are probably cheaper than what the old bulbs cost to light up that whole place, man.
Maybe. Okay.
I'm positive.
Okay.
Looks less institutional. And just really invites people into that space.
Yes, inviting.
AstroTurf practice field.
So he talked about he said he wants to do it. That's pretty much all he said. He said, yeah, I agree. It looks bad. But he didn't give a ETA or anything.
Yeah.
Now he's addressing the football turf, which was actually, he didn't mention this part. He said, the football turf was actually negotiated in Coach Brown's contract. And there was actually a date. You talk about ETAs. The ETA for the turf football field, the practice football field outside by the softball area, the ETA was supposed to be 2025, spring 2025. That ETA ain't gonna happen.
Yes, there is a conversation about that. We looked at putting an AstroTurf game field in.
Now this is where I'm gonna have to call it. I'm gonna have to call BS, because this is extra information that does not relate to the question. They might have had a 5-second conversation. There was no, from my understanding, there was no serious consideration of replacing the field, the playing field with AstroTurf. That's why the turf field was put into the contract, because they wanted some way to prepare for road games, but they didn't want to change their home surface. So this is kind of
that's not all just because of football. But go ahead.
But coach track and field. So, but he's acting like we thought about doing it, and we after.
I believe they thought about. I believe it was brought to the table just like any other. I mean,
I don't think before Coach Brown got there. I mean, I don't think since after Coach Brown.
You said since Coach Brown? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think since Coach Brown, because Coach Brown he came on our show, said he didn't want to practice the AstroTurf. So I mean, as a playing field, but
every time I bring that up, I'm reminded by my staff that I work at A&T, and A stands for agriculture, and we grow grass, and so we don't want a turf game field. Speaking to our coach, he agrees. He does not want a turf game field. I think we're the only school in the CAA that has a grass field, and I believe it provides a competitive advantage for us.
I do too.
So we're going to try to keep the game field as grass. And that also allows us to do some different things with track and javelin inside the stadium that you couldn't do if we had a turf field. But there is a recognition and a desire that we do need to have an all-surface field somewhere in athletics. Not just for athletics, but for the band and for other student groups who need access to those kinds of facilities, regardless of the weather. So after we get these 2 practice fields built, there is a plan for us to put a turf field. And we're still going back and forth on the location.
See, now that's why I gotta stop the stuff and I gotta give y'all information. So that doesn't jive, man. Okay, and guys, y'all interject and tell me I'm crazy, but you missed it. A&T. I'm not saying Earl. A&T missed a deadline. It was in the contract. We're gonna give you this by 2025. For whatever reasons, the antenna tower, the softball, whatever, it's not happening. So don't gloss over the fact that we missed the deadline. Now we can give props, but let's also let's call it fair. He's making it sound like we just just decided we'll push it down the road. No, we're supposed to have this by next year.
Yeah.
But in that same complex, in the stadium.
Go ahead, Doug.
I don't think he was just talking about the turf practice field for the football team. I think he's also talking about the fields that were supposed to be multi-use fields. At one point they were talking about putting a field over by where the current band room is, kind of over near the apartments, and then they were looking at the parking lot where the antenna is and where the practice field is, and as you mentioned, the softball field. So I do believe there's some conversations and some decisions to be made on what's feasible, where the field should go, in reference to what other facilities you have coming up that are part of the preeminence 2030 plan, right? Like there's a lot of moving parts, and as we just mentioned, he's not the one that calls all the shots when it comes to facilities and new projects. So I think there is that dialogue. I think they do have a plan. I think they're still working through what may or may not happen. We've seen multiple plans change, not just in athletics, but we know that building sizes change, plans for buildings change, infrastructure changes. So, I don't think he's setting. I think he's trying to be transparent and let you know, hey, we've had some conversations. We're trying to figure this out. Yes, there's been a conversation about changing the game field. Yes, we were reminded by our staff that we're ag school. We like to have a natural surface. Like those are honest conversations. I think he's presenting the information in an honest way, as straightforward as he can. And yeah, we missed the deadline of 2025. Is that affecting whether or not we're going to be able to continue to be productive, or, Coach Brown's contract?
No, that does mean that's exactly what that means. If we hire a new coach and this dude is 2-17, right? So if you want to, okay, so imagine if I'm a big Coach Brown defender, and I'm like, y'all, you guys don't know how good a coach he is. If y'all just give him what he needs to be successful, he'll show you. So if I'm a Coach Brown defender and I found out that he negotiated to have an all practice, all surface practice field, weather practice field, I can't talk. But his contract in the school didn't honor that, then I'm like, dang, y'all not giving him everything he needs to turn this thing around.
I think the reason behind it matters. If it's justifiable, if there were some moving parts, and I mean, let's face it, how much leverage do we have other than it being in the contract? I don't think that's Coach Brown's main focal point, and I don't think Coach Brown will offer it up to be like, hey man, we're in this position because I didn't get the field by 2025, right? Like that's not even a football coach's mentality. I just think that's one of those things. Just like he had an obligation with APR. There's a bunch of things in the contract. Some of the stuff gets met, some of the stuff doesn't. But that's why you rewrite contracts and offer extensions, doing everything else. You earn out some of those things. So it's still a need and a want, regardless of where we are. And I think whoever the coach is, down the road, that's just one of those things I think will come into fruition at some point.
So I think it gives Coach Brown some leverage to say, hey, man,
it definitely does. In my opinion, I would use it as leverage. I'm using everything I can get.
I was supposed to have this all surface.
And our official practice field is not the reason why we're 2-15 over last 2 years.
I know it's not, but I'm just saying.
I'm just putting the brass tacks. I don't think that's at the top of either man's list. I don't think that's a major concern at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's in his contract. It's not going to be done. And if Earl comes and says, "Well, you ain't doing this or that," he could still say that because it's in his contract. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, what's up, bro?
What up, man? I'm visiting. Like I've been going through a lot of things. No MD tonight, so I'm visiting tonight.
All right.
What's up, Dave?
Is everything good, man? Everything good?
Yeah. Nah, we good. We Gucci. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
We good.
We need to talk offline. Let me know, man.
No question. Nah, things are good, man. It's just things have been kind of wild the last couple of days, but we through it.
Well, I got Craig Turner's PIN number. I can cash out you some money if you need something. So
look, man. Listen, if I need money, I'm gonna need money with that cash out you bring, my brother.
All right, guys.
Look, unless you want to help pay for my daughter's college, that's the drill we're going through right now.
I know.
Done that. No, thank you.
Dave, she didn't say she's going to Central this year.
She ain't even applying there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think you you visited or something, so I ain't know.
I mean, I drove by it. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw. So, it is what it is. And the thing is, my daughter, she's particular about the neighborhoods where some of these places are at.
Yeah.
So, I'll never forget when we went to Coppin. She wasn't sold on Coppin as soon as we drove on the way there.
Hey, listen, I gotta do a meal.
You need to be careful. Now you need to be careful.
I know.
Yeah. I didn't know what you did when I came back. You need to be careful, sir.
Oh man, listen. Hey, Hayes, what's up, bro?
Oh, Blue Hayes, what's happening, man?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey,
all right.
Can you hear us good? You all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, man.
Good to put a face with a name.
Hey, Blue, we almost got canceled last week, man. Almost.
You dang on sure did, bro. Well, when you were slanted in Columbia, I wasn't sure why until I went back and watched the film. I had to go back and watch the film. Then I was like, oh yeah. You'll be fine, man. You're not cancelable. Like you like Dave Chappelle, man. He ain't cancelable either. You be all right.
I try to tell them folks. I say, in the mortal words of Young Jeezy, you can't ban the snowman. But they'll figure it out. All right, but let's get back to this town hall. So real quick, Hayes and Dave, did you guys watch the town hall?
I only caught the second half, and I was starting to watch the first half before I jumped in. I mean, I'll be honest, man. Like I caught it off script stuff. I forgot because I was dealing with college stuff with my daughter.
How you feel about that? How you feel about somebody, a non-Aggie, getting a live stream on a AAF?
I'll be honest with you, man. It isn't the first time he's done something like this to other institutions, right?
I know the game, but I'm saying,
yeah. I think some of that is on us. Like we have to be responsible too, right? And so we just got to be better with regards to that. But I will say, I think what happened tonight and them live stream it was a positive thing for us.
That's my point. That's my point. I thought it was great. So I thought it was a great win for them.
No, because from my perspective, right?
Yeah,
I think folks was looking for blood.
They were,
and they didn't find it. And all they could do was start thinking about, well, A&T got more stuff together than we realized. So you get to see it in front of you, and then you got to start thinking about, because they were thinking, well, A&T got these problems, but they're not thinking, oh, wait a minute, we got them problems too in the MEAC. We got them problems too in the SWAC.
Right.
So they got to start figuring out how they're going to do it. Like when you talk about the scholarship increases, the money is going to take, how you're going to compete. Some of these HBCUs really need to have that discussion on whether or not they need to go back down to D2. Hey, they have to like you're talking about like your Valleys, Alcorn State, and I'm not trying to go at the SWAT. Let me be clear, but you got to start thinking about these things. If you want to compete, you got to get the goods. And if you ain't got the goods, you got to start making tough decisions.
Hey, Blue Hayes, it seemed like some of those folks on that off-screen script. I keep messing this up. It's all script, right? All script.
It's all script. All Scotty. You can call him Scotty. That's safer.
I like the dude. I'm a fan. It seemed like a lot of people, the SWAC folks, were kind of blindsided by, because we have seen Blue. Me and you, we've seen the board trustees presentation before. So this was like third or fourth time we've seen that. I think a lot of those SWAC fans, that's the first time they understood the realization of what's coming and the methodology of how it happened. I think they were like, good Lord, for real? And I guess, like Scotty was saying, a lot of the SWAC athletic directors have not been that transparent. So they're not. Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of them tend to just keep the job because of who they know in certain offices, right?
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So like shout out to my man BJ Jones. You can ask him how he feels about his AD at Southern. It ain't good. I can tell you that right now.
He's not a fan.
Oh no. He had a whole onslaught on the intro of HBCU Nightly a few weeks ago.
Ooh, okay.
About the fact that they decided to extend him when he had no reason to be extended. And when there were other opportunities and other options out there that could probably improve their athletic program. So, it ain't just about, and he went down, most folks focus on football. He went down the line with all the other sports too. So I think we always have that lens on football, and A&T is the easiest target because of what our record is. But the reality is that when you start looking at everything else, you compare it to some of these other institutions. I think the only one that could probably have a debate with us is probably Howard. And that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's Howard. And I have no problem saying that. Like, they got a phenomenal volleyball team as well. They got their basketball teams on both in the men's and women's is solid. They out here winning championships in NEC in swimming. Like, they're out here racking these championships.
And what else? Then what else?
They won Celebration Bowl last year.
They went to Celebration Bowl. They're not this year now. Let me be clear.
Oh, yeah.
They're not this year. But like Craig said, we're both right here as R1 research, hopefuls right here. So that, we've been banging the table on that, like academics matter. And
it really does. It really does. You're absolutely right.
Blue Hayes, jump in here. So how did you, what was your takeaway from the town hall?
Yeah, so that was my question about the facilities. I asked that question. And he left off a caveat. I specifically said, what can the alumni do to help with these projects? So if we wanted to raise money, because I'm tired of that fence. Well, I see what you're saying.
It's straight cash, homie. The philosopher, Randall Moss.
We need to have some type of campaign specifically saying this money's going towards that fence.
We could do that. Like, we as alums could do that, and we could kind of have A&T.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Dave. But we had a long discussion on the board about this. What is the AAF's function? I'm still waiting for somebody from Atlanta to give me a call about what the AAF chapter is doing down here. I would love to have a specific fundraiser to say this money is going towards X or it's going towards Y. It's not happening, in my opinion. It's not happening right now.
Okay.
Is that on the university or is that on us?
Well, the AAF is a member of the university. I mean, it's a member. It's an arm. It's an arm of the university.
It's an arm. I mean, I'm just wondering. Like, I'm ignorant on it, right? So I'm just asking the question, right? So,
and Dave, not to shoot anybody down, but Craig is exemplary in his role as the president of his local chapter.
Yes.
Other local chapters might not have somebody who's has a podcast every Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that. I get that, right? And I get that. And it's the same thing when it comes to alumni chapters right now. They haven't stood up another alumni chapter in probably over a year at this point. Like I've been trying to help get one stood up in New England with a couple other folks in Massachusetts for over a year, but I know why. I talked to Crystal about it. I understand why. We're gonna get it. We're gonna make it happen. But it's just, I think for us, I think it's more of a matter of if we can, like, if all the chapter presidents just, because I'm pretty sure everybody would concur. Like, I don't think Blue Haze is the only one that thinks we got to get a new fence. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's the only chapter that thinks that we need to get a new fence. I just think it starts with a conversation to get all the chapters in sync, and then we just jointly do something. I mean, I think A&T would easily create us something, create the AAF something. If it's their arm, and you can probably ask Earl and Shamika about it. If it's their arm, right? If they're the arm, it's the arm of the university, set up something so folks on the AAFs can contribute all together and like, and get this done.
This is what I would say. I would say if anybody watched that town hall, my call to action would be for you guys to email Earl and tell him how appreciative you were of his appearance and his transparency, and then ask him, you know, can he continue to operate in that type of space to where he's telling us, I mean, because he talked to us like adults tonight, right? That's always been my thing. Just tell me the good and the bad. You know, don't try to, you know, use a whole bunch of euphemisms and all that. Just tell me what's going on. And I think in a lot of ways he did. I'm about to show you what way that I had an issue with, but in a lot of ways he was very. This is a good life, Earl, right? So let's encourage him to keep on doing that. And then to your credit, Dave and Hayes, let's also talk about some line item projects that we can try to move past, because, you know, seems like he's aware now. Let's see, can we execute, right? So,
but to be frank with you, Samaj, to keep it a buck with you, man, the fence ain't the top priority right now.
I know it's not, but I mean,
it's just an example, right? Like, I think the big priority right now, from my perspective, besides facilities, right, because facilities is going to take time. It's about making sure we get this NIL money to make sure we keep some talent on these rosters.
Exactly. Well,
that is like quick. That is immediate. That is something that we need to push.
Okay, but that's also going to be. I can agree and I disagree, because the university, you know how they say sports are the front porch of university, right? The real front porch of university is when you come down. If you come from the north side to the south side, you come down Yanceyville and you cross over with the farmers market and you take a quick left. That's the front porch, and that's bad, right? So there's the facilities is something that's really representing our university, and we need to figure out just from an aesthetic point of view, how to make that better in quick, fast, and hurry. You know,
as alum, I think we've gotten immune to it. We just gotten so used to going to Aggie Stadium, we don't really realize.
And he ain't talking about Aggie Stadium.
I'm talking about
True Stadium. I know we say, I'm just in general. I mean, yeah. It's just, you know, there are things over there that we just gotten used to, and, you know, it's home for us. But they need to be fixed up. It needs to be spruced up.
There's no question about that. But I will say this, and the running, here's the running joke that's been happening, right? We've been talking about A&T's grass and how pristine it looks now.
Yeah.
But we ain't got too many wins on that grass. I'd rather have the grass be beat up and get some W's. I'm just gonna keep it above with y'all. Like, I
don't know about that.
Because it looks pristine. Like, if I had a lawn, I would like my grass to look like that. We gotta get some W's. That is the priority right now. Like, the baseball stadium, it does not look good. We got a jacked up fence over at Truist, right?
Yeah.
But however, if we start winning, that can help fix some of that. And I think that's important too. But the key to start winning is we got to figure out where, like Earl said, I did catch this part. Where do we want to go as an athletics department? Do you want to be regional? Do you want to be national? Which way you want to go? Because whichever way you want to go it's gonna take some dollars.
Right. And now, I thought I saw most of it, but did he ever, Craig? Did he deliver a hard date on that athletic giving campaign? Did he say anything? Okay, so
it's going to be presented. It's going to the two options as far as the campaign is concerned. whether you do it project by project or do it kind of like they did with the General University campaign a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Where you do a whole big thing for a huge amount of money, $100 million, or do you do it project by project? That's going to be presented to the board of trustees, and then they will decide which way they want to go. Whether they want to do it project by project, or they want to do a gigantic campaign.
It sounds like
so. They'll have two options. They'll have two options. They'll have to decide. They'll have to decide which one they want to go with.
So, Craig, are you telling me? And I'm not. Trust me, Craig. You know how much I respect everything you do. But are you telling me that we spent a whole year, and we're just at the end of the year, what our deliverable is, we're gonna pass it to the board of trustees to find out if we want to have a $100 million campaign or piece by piece? If that's all we accomplish,
it'd be $20 million at a pop.
Wait, Samad, you didn't watch the town hall?
Listen, I did, but I missed that.
That was at the beginning because I started watching the beginning. Basically, they did a feasibility study. They hired a company to do a feasibility study.
God, damn. You don't have to about that. Go ahead.
Listen, man, they hired a company and they recommended that you do small chunks versus doing a big one because of the capacity.
But my whole point is, but my whole point is
4 or 5 things that they are going to do in this first batch. Matter of fact, I think he has set a date for getting that track resurfaced again.
Yeah, that track is going to be resurfaced this summer. So there was 5. I think was it 5 things? I think I wrote them down.
Something like that.
It's like 5 things.
It was 2 practice fields.
They're going to be done right away. The practice fields, the track. There was
Hall of Fame, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, they're going to put in a permanent Hall of Fame, a permanent home for the Hall of Fame.
And lounges for the basketball.
A lot of people had complained about that last year. That the Hall of Fame used to be in the old student union.
Yeah, it did.
And then when the new student center went up, that disappeared. Where they're going to bring it back. They're going to put a permanent home for the Hall of Fame now. There's a list about. You have to go back and look at the entire thing, but there's a list of about 5 things that are going to be immediate.
Okay, I heard that, and so I didn't take that as being the. I thought that was just he was talking specific. I didn't know that was supposed to be the whole capital campaign presentation. Okay, so my whole thing about that is we knew about the track because that's why they put the temporary bleachers at G-Ho. So that's not a surprise. We knew about the 2 practice fields because he talked about that on the last Aggie Pride show when he said they're not having the turf fields. So and I think I already knew about them. So this is not anything new. Just for anybody scoring at home.
So I think converting those
fields,
the courts in not handball, but what are they? Racquetball.
Racquetball.
Converting them to weight rooms is something that I just heard for the first time.
Okay, all right.
And it was 2 basketball lounges that were going to get
men's and women's basketball, the lounges, what you would, equate to. Well, they've already redid locker rooms, but it's an area where the players can come in and relax and relax and pregame and someplace where they can just carouse.
And that's cool. That's major for recruiting. Like you need that area.
Right.
All the big schools have that kind of
right.
A players' lounge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, players' lounge.
Hey, let me ask a question related to what Blue Hayes talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So I know whenever we go to give, there are, I don't know, 10, 15 different areas for AAF that you can give specifically to football, strength and conditioning, and all that. So I think the money that we give that are directed at those things, those go directly to the whatever it is for the AAF.
Yeah.
But Craig, help me with this. I don't know if you know or not. At halftime, I think at G-Ho, they gave $750,000, $800,000.
Yeah, $750,000.
Is that totally separate from those specific things, and they just give it to athletics, and athletics use it however they want, or how's that set up? Do you know?
Yeah, that's money that we raised that goes specifically to the Department of Athletics. A lot of it is it's at the discretion of the university how they deal with that. The primary part of that is to fund scholarships and but it can be used for a variety of different things that the athletic department sees as priority. But primarily, it's going to the student athletes. It's not necessarily used for capital improvements, but it could be used for that purpose. But that's not the primary purpose of that money. That is scholarship. Those are scholarship funds.
Okay. And then, so I think the other thing that the AAF does is all these donor events. I think those are put in place to help incentivize more giving, to give back, to appreciate those that give, so that, you know, we have this organization that grows and those kinds of things based on the appreciation that it does. So those are the things I think I see the AAF doing, trying to build donor loyalty, increase money, and then give more money to the organization through those targeted things, as well as those big checks that they give.
I can tell you this: the AAF is probably going to change dramatically once the NCAA approves this NIL deal, where the money is funneled directly through the university to the athletes.
Yeah,
I think we're going to change a lot of what we do now. Is going to change the way we raise money, the structure by which we raise money and prioritize giving is going to change quite a bit. That NIL is going to you'll be able to designate your whatever donation you make during the course of the year. You'll be able to designate that specifically for NIL if you want to, and it'll be tax deductible, which is something that's not now. So that's going to change the nature of the AAF. I suspect that the actual dollar amounts are probably going to go up for what we raise on a yearly basis. We need, roughly speaking, to have to be really competitive, really be able to keep our kids here. It's probably going to take about I would say probably for the size program we have, I'm thinking we're probably going to have to come up with somewhere between $250,000 to $500,000 a year.
Now, Earl said, I think
500,000, right?
The number Earl said for the whole kit and caboodle was around 500,000.
Yeah,
that's initial. That might with
it's going to go up.
It's going up, but this start off is 500.
Yeah. So right. and there's some money there now. You know, we have several kids who got NIL money for the first time this fall, and it matriculates through both sports, so all sports, both men's and women's sports. So, you know, it's improving, but I think it's really going to take off once the NCAA okays the direct payments. That's when it's really going to take off. Well, let's a lot of people were asking about about the NIL collective. Once the university takes control of it, and we can route that money and make it tax deductible, I think we're going to be okay.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's go back to this
complex that would allow us to add soccer to our portfolio.
And once again, he just talked about the facility enhancements with the and he said he wants to add turf field, but he don't know.
Soccer's so overdue, guys.
An all-weather surface for not only football but any other outdoor sport, including the band for their practices. Bucket seats for fans That has not been a conversation yet. It's not a bad one. It just has not come up as a conversation for us. So we can certainly entertain that and talk about what that might look like or cost. And then replacing the scoreboard has to be. Yeah, it's got to be. And I don't want to misquote the age, but it's decades old at this point.
Do we really? I mean, they talking about priorities. I'm good with the scoreboard. I mean, you know, I like the
You
play
got
clock.
used to it.
You got used to it. It's time
Oh, no,
to
no,
bring the
no.
board.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If we're gonna have to, if you guys keep moving the goalposts here, we're gonna have to prioritize. You know, the scoreboard does everything it needs to do right now. I mean, it could be a whole lot better, no doubt. But you know, it doesn't. Remember a couple years ago, it had that big black bar in the middle of it, like half the season. At least they got that fixed. So I don't know. I wouldn't take away from Pelican Bay remodeling in order just to have a new scoreboard. If we had to pick and choose,
it's about recruiting. So if you ask a recruit, what he'd rather see is that big pretty scoreboard in the stadium versus the wrought iron fence on the outside.
Would you like to go to a federal prison to play your football games, or would you like
look at every facility, every major sports facility across the U.S.? What's one upgrade you always see is the scoreboard. Every facility, all right. Every facility. Look at the difference it made in Corbett when we added the new scoreboard. Folks raved, "Oh, we got a new scoreboard." It makes a difference. It may be one of those things you don't notice until it's new, until it's there. And we were at the forefront of nice scoreboards when we got that scoreboard, right? I think Morgan had a little TV screen in the corner. And
Howard had the 20-inch, man.
But yeah, you go back and look, and then we've upgraded our scoreboard. We lengthened it and I think widened it. I don't know how many years ago, but we had to make some improvements. We replaced some of the panels and do some upgrades. So, you know,
you have to replace those things about once every 10 years. Those big electronic scoreboards, they've got about a 10-year lifespan. Okay. So that's why they only have about a 10-year lifespan.
Okay.
So Samad, Samad, you should have been at Campbell and seen and heard their scoreboard.
It was better.
You might be thinking a little different.
All right. So from what I hear from you gentlemen, we just got deep pockets with endless money, so we can get whatever we want. So don't.
It's not about deep pockets. It's not about deep pockets. It's not about deep pockets. It's about prioritizing.
Okay. So
it's about prioritizing. It's not about deep pockets. You deal with the things that are going to, number one, are going to benefit your student athletes, and number two is going to enhance your fan base experience to make it a more pleasurable trip to see an A&T football game. Those are going to be those two things are the key elements that that will be used to prioritize which way we go and what we do first and what we do second and what we do third. There's too much emphasis, in my opinion, to do everything at once.
Right.
We want to do everything at one time. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this. Well, we know we have to do these things, but you have to really sit down and, as an athletic director and an administrator, you really have to make some determinations as to what is needed first. First of all, I can tell you one thing about Earl. The one thing he's going to put first before anything else is going to be that student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be number one on his list. I guarantee you that. That's going to be number one on his list. He's going to take care of those athletes first. As far as fans are concerned, y'all just get used to the ruddy grass.
The grass is nice.
Hey, Craig,
but you're taking care of those student athletes first.
Craig, what would you do? If you had a limited amount of money, would you redo the entire football locker room, or would you upgrade the scoreboard? If you had to choose one,
locker room.
That's where the kids spend the most time. Yeah,
that's what I would do. And so that's still a major need, right, Dougie? We still need a major locker room.
I have no doubt that the locker room is going to get done. Matter of fact, hadn't we already had some funds allocated towards locker room renovation?
Yeah, we got funds allocated to War Memorial Stadium.
From the state. I'm talking about from the state, right?
From the state.
I don't care where it comes from, but I know it's in print that the locker room will get upgraded. That's the least of my worries, whether or not the locker room gets upgraded.
All right.
That's coming.
All right.
That's coming. And also, when we talk about audio visuals, wasn't somebody on here asking for TVs at the concession stands and a better audio visual experience in the stadium just a few months ago?
That's you know what I said? I said let's go by Best Buy tonight. Let's throw about 6 70-inch TVs in the back of a truck and put them things up by Saturday. We can have them things up by Saturday for William and Mary. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. You talk about not delaying stuff and trying to get everything done at once. That is a small improvement that we can for the fan experience. It's not student athletes, but we can put up some nice TVs outside of concession stands. Today is Wednesday. We can have that thing up by Saturday. I promise you.
But you know, the good thing about it now is that there's a whole lot less wiring that needs to be done.
Oh yeah. You're right. Good point, Troy. Let's go back to this.
We just replaced the display portion of it. Oh, Shamika, how many years ago? Man. It's been a minute. We just replaced the big screen, but we have not done anything recently to the rest of the scoreboard, and so that does need to be on our radar as a project.
I want to say 7 years, 7, 8 years ago. Yeah.
God, 7 or 8 years ago. Okay, yeah, man, time flies. Okay, great question.
Update on War Memorial Stadium renovation.
All right. Now here it is. Okay. So
I missed this piece.
All right.
It's good, Dave. Don't worry about somebody. It's good.
Well, all right.
I just want to hear what he's gonna say. I'm curious.
No, I'm saying it's better than what Samaj is saying. So go ahead.
I got an email today. Part of the plans are with in-state construction. The delay with War Memorial has nothing to do with A&T.
Good. Okay. The delay ain't got nothing to do with us. It's not my fault.
You gotta let it finish. You gotta let it finish.
If it's not on our end, it's not on our end.
I mean, what's
only so much
wrong
you
with
can do with when you're dealing with the state of North Carolina. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with business with the bureaucracy of the state of North Carolina, but it is a bitch. Okay,
that's a good way to say it.
I can tell you that from 32 years of experience of dealing with them son guns. It is a bitch to get anything done.
Where's Miss T?
The state of North Carolina.
Where's Miss T?
Craig, you said at least 2 or 3 times a year, right? Like it hadn't changed. Right?
All right, so I might have missed. So let me make sure I'm on the right point. I might have messed up.
Regardless of the weather. So after we get these 2 practice fields built, it just has not come up as a conversation, so that does need to be on our radar as a project.
I want to say
part of the plans are with in-state construction. The delay with War Memorial has nothing to do with A&T.
Okay.
Because he's talking to you right now, Samaj. He's definitely talking to you.
He's absolutely talking to you, bruh.
Who you think? This is the audience of one. He's saying,
I told you, Dave.
I'm telling Thriller,
I told you, Dave, it's not as bad as he thinks. He said, go ahead.
Everything has to be blessed and re-blessed by state construction. And because we're trying to renovate a historical site and we're building in a floodplain, because that's where the stadium was built, in a floodplain,
right
on top of.
Now, let me just, and I'm not going to take too long, but I want you to remind you guys, okay, it wasn't like this is like some Indian burial ground, right? This actually was a functioning minor league baseball park for decades, okay? And it's
sitting on top of a landfill.
Right.
And it sits on top of a landfill.
So Samaj, I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to guess.
Yes, sir.
How long do you think it takes me to buy a computer at my job?
I know about bureaucracy.
No. I want you to think. I want you to answer the question. I want you to answer the question.
I would say probably. I don't know your job. Maybe 6 months.
A year, and sometimes I get yelled at because I don't get it in time by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
What?
Right.
Yeah. Just to buy a computer.
Yeah.
And I have, and the thing is, I can't go to Amazon and get it the next day.
Okay.
I've had this whole discussion. When you got to deal with contracts and bureaucracy, when you got to deal with contracts and bureaucracy, bro, that it takes time. Even when they were talking about the COVID shots and they did the press with when they were sending out the test, the COVID test, And they were talking about, yeah, we got to go through procurement and go through the process of contract to get the COVID test mailed out to people. All I could do was laugh. And they got the fast one. They got the fast one.
All right.
Like,
all right.
it could take up to a year to get computers from my job. I got to plan a year in advance. Sometimes it could take 18 months to 3 years, depending on what you're trying to do.
Okay, so let's forget it. Let's just go ahead and do this. I'm gonna give up. All right, so
I want to hear the rest of what he said.
All right, let me run it. I'm sorry.
I can't say a landfill, but no one knows what's below the stadium. There are a lot of hoops to be jumped through. So the next step is to begin knocking down the bleachers on the left field line, to begin abating that concrete, knocking it down so we can clear that out for construction. The email that I got today was it's still in state construction. There's a delay with the review. I did not hear back whether we're talking about weeks or months on that delay.
So he said we don't know if it's going to be weeks or months on that delay. Months could be years. Years could be decades. Decades could be generations. I'm just saying there. So, but look, if you guys are cool with it, I'm not going to listen. At some point, it is what it is. Like everybody says. So
I'm not cool with it, but I think we're at the point where we're at the mercy of the bureaucracy of the state.
Yeah.
First of all, okay.
I've been through that process. It is not easy. I mean, I remember trying to get fiber optic cables put into the Guilford County Courthouse so we could upgrade the computer systems across the board. That took 4 years just to get the approval to do it. The job didn't take that long, but it took 4 years just to get the approval to do it.
So Craig, you think so they have their priorities and we're low on their priority list too? I mean, I don't know.
That's the way it works. That's the way it works down in Raleigh.
Can I ask one question to Blue Hayes? Blue Hayes, you still there? Blue Hayes.
I'm still here.
All right, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna leave it alone because I mean, obviously,
I have a better question, but I'll let Blue Hayes go first.
Go ahead. I didn't hear the question.
The Blue Hayes.
I don't believe you.
Blue Hayes. If UNCG on War Memorial Stadium, would it
the answer to that question?
Would it take this long?
You already know the answer to that question.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, guys. And listen. If I had to give Earl Hilton a grade on tonight, listen, let me say this. If I had to give Earl Hilton a grade on tonight's performance on his town hall, on this thing, I give him an A. Because I think the net positives were awesome. And I think he changed a lot of minds. I think he sounds a lot of critics. Okay. And I think he might have also got people enticed about contributing and supporting the athletic department based on how rock solid he appears as a leader, right? I think it was a net positive for him. Man, that's all the excuses y'all want to make, and I'll let y'all make them. I'm not going to stop y'all from making whatever y'all want to say.
It's not excuses, Shamash. It is just a fact of life. If you know anything about how government works, it is slow on purpose. It is designed to be that way. There's nothing that there's nothing, only an act of God. And I would be questioning that could make it happen overnight the way you wanted to make it.
Overnight, Craig. Is that fair?
And the thing,
Craig,
and by the way, wait. I gotta say this. And you asked the question about if it was UNCG that was getting the stadium. The better question is, would UNCG even want it? Because maybe they even knew, right?
Say it again. You broke up. Say it again.
If the better question is, would UNCG even want to deal with it? You follow me? Like you're talking about a historical stadium.
Yeah, it's like
would UNCG want it? Like if they would have offered them, would they have taken it, or would they have asked their alums to try to foot the bill and build something else outside of it?
Yeah,
that's the question I have.
We do know that they didn't have to deal with this historical thing.
No,
because guess what? It's over there on their campus.
I recall back in 2019. When they announced at the alumni meeting, Pompey announced at the alumni meeting that they were buying War Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the face that he made because I think he knew the challenges he was going to have to try to get that thing where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Like it was an interesting, like he was talking about all the other things that we're building, all the things they're about to buy from a campus standpoint. And then when he got to War Memorial, he knew the challenges that it was going to take to get this done.
Did he communicate those challenges to the public? Yes or no?
He just communicated what the plan was going to be.
This is what Dr. Pompey said last time at a BOT meeting that was, shown to the public, right? Available to the public. He said construction would start in earnest this summer. That's what he said in the spring. Okay. And so as much as we can go back and forth, I like to take people for their word. Earl Hilton came on the Pridecast a few months later, once the summer deadline was, not going to happen. He said, we're going to get things moved around this fall. And so you guys act like I'm acting crazy because I'm expecting things to happen.
I think that where the disconnect is the refusal to accept there are circumstances that are beyond our control. This is outside our control at this point. Somebody else is pulling the strings on this. Okay.
Okay, but
we don't have control over this right now. We've done everything that we have to do.
But Craig, can you at least agree with me that the not excuses, because you got gets mad when I say excuses, the challenges have changed over the years. At first, it was the historic committee would not approve the plans because they didn't like A&T and they were just being mean. Then it was we might have had asbestos that we had to do some environmental study for. I think sea otters were. No, I'm joking. Okay. Then it was the state government who, just because we just uppity black school on the east side of Greensboro, we got to stop all that the progress. Okay. So I'm saying there's always this phantom menace. Okay. I feel like George Lucas. There's always this phantom menace that's stopping our progress. It ain't our fault. Hey, we done we do everything we can do. Okay.
Could all those things not be true? I mean, just right. Because you named it.
I mean, there's all you should, when you consider that the state of North Carolina has underfunded this university for $2.7 billion.
Tell them, Dave. Tell them again, Dave.
I mean, we've been working miracles for a very, very, very long time.
All script. Hey, I'm a fan of your show, bro. I love your platform, man.
Shout out to Scotty, man.
Yeah. Scotty,
I misrepresented your name, but all script. I love your show and I keep doing what you're doing, man. I love seeing young brothers out there making things happen, man. Good deal.
Yeah, but listen, Scotty, stop talking about we're gonna fire our coach and let him go. It ain't happening, baby.
Oh yeah, you're wrong on that, Scotty.
He ain't going nowhere.
At least for a year.
All right, so guys, it's almost 2 hours, so we gotta get out of here. All right, so listen. So that was the gist of it, and you know what? We'll go to A&T Fan Forum, BlueDeathValley.com. The rest of the week, we'll be talking about that ad nauseum, and we will, all the crazy things that we've been talking about as far as the football program and all that. We'll go into that more detail. We do have a football game Saturday, which is against
number 24, William and Mary.
Right, and guys, styles make fights, right? As they say. Craig, give us a scouting report. Styles make fights, but I don't think this is the great fight for us, right? This is a team that likes to run the ball, huh?
This is a team that likes to run the ball. They got a very athletic quarterback, but they've been a little bit off this year from what they normally did, but they're still better than most of the teams in the country. They're good. London's done a really good job up there. They ran into a buzzsaw last week.
Stony Brook. Let me tell you something, man.
Stony Brook put a dog whipping on them up there.
Let me tell you something. I caught some of that, and that's my other fear. William Mary can be angry on Saturday, but one thing I'll say, man, I watched when William and Mary played Hampton earlier last month. That was the smoothest 49-7 I ever seen in my life. The smoothest, I kid you not, bro, the smoothest 49-7 victory of a team that I've ever seen in my life. Them guys play really well. They know what they got to do. It was just clockwork the entire game.
Yeah.
Clockwork. Straight clockwork.
They're a machine.
When they're on, they own. Now, you would like to believe that Vincent Brown would know him very well since he was on the staff for a long period of time in multiple institutions.
Yeah.
But it's going to take more than that.
Doug, you feel one way or the other? You feel?
Yeah. Well, I think they play in a style that we would like to emulate at some point. That Coach Brown would like to implement, where they're disciplined, they're smart, very smart ball club. Don't make a lot of mistakes to beat themselves, other than last week when they had those 4 turnovers. And then they're oblivious to any outside noise. I think they'll just kind of play without a lot of riffraff. They don't get into a lot of mess. They're just coming out there to execute and do what they do. And if they feel like if they're successful doing what they do, then they won't have to worry about the other team, right? So you hear Coach Brown say it's about us, it's not about them, process oriented. That's what you're going to see from Mike Lennon and his staff and his team from William & Mary. I think it plays in our advantage with teams get out of character. I thought Campbell, who have shown year after year that they can become undisciplined for some reason. Well, I know the reason, but they get up for some of their kids play to a different level or somewhat out of character. I won't say out of character. I don't know the character, but they seem to want to grit it up a little bit and want to take cheap shots at us and get into it with us, try to prove something to our guys. And we've seen it for at least the last 3 years we've played Campbell. And at this point, we got to kind of have a different rivalry with them. But I think you'll see a different William & Mary ball club that just comes out and try to do what they do. That's kind of their MO. How that affects us and how we show up and play, we'll see. I thought we did a better job of kind of, being in the game. I think we play off of that. We've said in the past that we think we need a little bit of that. That's kind of an old MAC way of playing, of using that energy to harness it and get some results. But we also know that you play out of control sometimes when you try to play at that level. So hopefully we can get to the point where we are playing nice and smooth and running off 49-7, like you said, Dave. But all we ask the kids come out and fight, play hard. That's why you play the game. We're going to put the football down and see what happens. But we definitely got a tough task, big hill to climb on Saturday. So
all right. So
one point is we got some familiarity. So
it
might help. It helped in the Richmond game for sure.
Yeah. So look, we're all over 2 hours, so we don't have time. I know y'all heartbroken, but we don't have time for these 3 plays. Unless if y'all beg me, but
Samaj,
we don't have time. We'll do it next week.
We've heard the sad song long enough tonight over the War Memorial Stadium. The violin and we heard all that already. So.
So look, you know what? I might do like a offline joint in this club because some people like to look at this place, but we'll do it next time. But just 2 weeks we haven't done 3 people.
A&T Roy got one last thing to say. I see.
Hold on, Roy, because Troy, because I do need to say something. All seriousness. So look, let's address the other elephant in the room. Last show, I don't like to. It's a team effort. We win together, we lose together. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but somebody from the Inside the Valley crew made an off-putting remark about educational system in great state of South Carolina. I don't want to say who, but as the founder of BlueDevilValley.com, I'll take the heat. And but it was me, and I said, made a little joke about educational system with the kids in South Carolina, and I used the word dumb, and that was not right. And I think everyone understood the context of it being kind of humorous, but sometimes, one thing about being a content person, you don't control. I'm pretty sure my man off script understands this. You don't control how people receive your content, right? You can't say you gotta laugh when I think something's funny. So sometimes once you put it out there, it's how people receive it is how they receive it, And if when you offend people, you gotta acknowledge that it's not they just can't take a joke. Sometimes you need to make sure that that all audiences understand your tone and your context. And that wasn't necessarily the case. I know that the following day some clown was cutting up our show, and he was putting it out saying, "Oh, look what this guy said about the kids in South Carolina," and tagging all the coaches. Like, what is that serious? And at first I was like, that's not fair, right? How you gonna take a 2.5 hour live stream, right, and just take a 10-second segment and then use that to criticize me, right?
One thing.
Hold on, let me say this. But then I thought about Dave, and I said, that's kind of what I do all the time. I take a 2.5 hour football game, a 3-hour football game, and I take clips and I use that, and I talk about Coach Brown and this player dropped that, whatever. And then I thought about Doug Craig. I said, hold on, this dude did these 3 plays on me. He
sure did.
He did these 3 plays on me, right? And Craig, it's no fun when the Rabbits got the gun, right? So
well, consider this your Puerto Rico moment.
Politics, right?
Yeah. And you need to apply this in some other areas of your life.
Thank you, Troy, for that. But really, all jokes aside, I was, and I just give you my mindset at the time. I was just making. I'm from Houston, right? When we're in Houston, we always talk about Dallas. Like that's like a little funny, feud thing. We always talk about how bad Dallas is, and vice versa. So I'm always used to talking like neighbor smack. Talk about your border state. So North Carolina talks about South Carolina. Greensboro. When I was in college, Greensboro used to always talk about Winston, right? So I'm just used to kind of playing the dozens, but sometimes people don't understand that just being silly. So I think there was one person in the chat that's like, this is, words have power, and you talk about people's education and intelligence. It brings back old kind of stereotypes and everything. And she had a great point, right? And so I wanted to address that. I personally, like I was telling David in the show, my dad's from South Carolina. I actually got family from Beaufort, like in the low country area. And I used to have some cousins in Charleston. So I have great reverence for the state of South Carolina. I want to tell you that. And also I was doing my research, Doug, if you made a Mount Rushmore of A&T alumni and just people, I almost could feel the whole thing with South Carolinians, right? So you got Jesse Jackson from Greenville, all right? You got Ron McNair. Ron McNair is from what?
Lake City,
South Carolina. So look.
Can you mute A&T Roy for a second?
Yeah, we don't need all that barking, man.
Listen. I consider myself, JMOC. I'm a Crosby kid. So the man that building was named after was the first president of North Carolina A&T, John O. Crosby. The first president of the school was from where is he from? He's from South Carolina, Fairfield County, South Carolina. So that's 3 names right there. Then of course you got Angela Edie, who's 90 Aggie on BlueDevilValley.com. She's OG. So she's got to be in the final, the Mount Rushmore. So like I say, South Carolina is the backbone of A&T. I do want to apologize to
Chancellor Martin in 2.0 from
Chancellor 2.0 is from Union, South Carolina.
But we can't put him in Mount Rushmore yet, though.
No. And you got folks on Blue Devil Valley from South Carolina.
We got a lot. So
I'm from Columbia.
Yeah, Dave, I was about to say, Dave, you said you was from down that way.
Yeah, I'm from the Met.
So this is my mea culpa to the entire Palmetto State. What I'm saying. One thing about us, we're gonna joke around, but we do want to have good vibes, and we want to make sure everybody's just feeling welcomed and appreciated. So please forgive me. Don't take those words literal. Just trying to have a moment of levity. And actually, what it was, I was just trying to actually, it's kind of like satire, because I was making fun of the whole APR restrictions. And I was saying, if you're gonna say APR is that big an issue, let's go the opposite way. It was kind of like this tongue in cheek, but it don't matter if you guys didn't receive it like that. That's how you receive it is how you received it. So that's something we got to continue to work on. But we're gonna keep having fun. You can't ban the snowman. We're gonna If we don't fall down, get back up. I got Craig and Doug as my moral compass. They'll get me straight. So
sounds like you Dr. Isaiah is part of your moral compass too now.
Who's that?
Josh Isaiah's mother.
Oh, that's his mom?
Yep.
Valerie.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So Valerie Isaiah.
South Carolina State University, master of I think LSU, also a master's here at North Carolina A&T, I believe.
Wow. Awesome.
Well, excuse me, and UNCG and a doctorate, I think, from here at A&T. So she's well versed. She can speak from all different angles, man, about the educational system from South Carolina on up to Greensboro. So if she checked you, you got the right person to check you. So she's very knowledgeable about that. So shout out to her.
And honestly, guys, that's what this community and this forum, Blue Death Valley in general, that's what it was created for. We can check each other. We can check our administration. We can check the coaching staff. They call it bad play. It's all up, and it's not just like you're terrible. It's just a healthy dialogue. That's my whole edict. I think that the more that as a fan base we communicate, the more we'll be together, and the more we can get things done. We can problem solve, right? And I think this show, hopefully, we can move forward with some actionable items. I think the AAF is going to grow, and Craig said that NIL is not going nowhere. Now we know how to pull our resources and where to target it. So let's go ahead. Like I said, we don't want to go too long tonight because I know everybody has school tomorrow and all that. But so gentlemen, let's just go real around the horn one more time. Everybody get a final thought. Let's start with Blue Haze. Everybody get a final thought, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be in the stadium Saturday. I just want to see a clean game. Want to see the guys play hard, and we'll put the ball down. We'll see how we land.
Yes, sir. Davey.
I'll be watching the game from the crib on Flow Sports, but shout out to the volleyball team right now. They got a shot to do some damage this weekend. They got a shot to have a big game against Hofstra the following weekend. They got Elon this weekend, so we should if they do what they're supposed to do, we'll have a big one against Hofstra, who's number 1 right now in the conference. So shout out to those ladies, man. They've been playing out of their mind. This is supposed to be a rebuild season. They out here doing their thing. They might make the playoffs for the first time in the CAA postseason. First time since we've been in the conference. So that's a big deal.
And we beat number 1 last week, right? We're already giant killers, right?
We already giant killers. We got to do it one more time. This time we got to go to Hempstead, though, if we're going to do it. But this weekend we got Elon. Then after that, they take care of business there.
Yeah.
We'll go up against Hofstra. And Hofstra took a tough loss against Delaware over the weekend previously. So it'll be fascinating to see if we can pull it off and get up there. The top 6 teams make the postseason for the CAA.
Gotcha. All right, Troy.
Yeah, so I won't repeat much of what Dave just said, but I will say that after what I hope to be, we beat Bill and Mary on Saturday.
Yeah.
The volleyball team has their match against Elon at 5:00 after the football game. So I want to implore as many Aggies or whoever.
Is that price associated with that? Is that free usually? Volleyball games?
Yes, free. Yeah.
You got to go to Elon, right? Or is it at home?
No, it's at home.
Oh, good stuff.
It's in
so you can literally just walk up to Corbett and you can get
more. It'd be in more. It's
gonna
be more, right? More at Corbett.
Yeah. So after the game, I'm gonna go tailgate a little bit, and I'm gonna grab as many people as I can to go over to more gymnasium to support our young ladies.
Let's do that.
We only have 6 matches left. 4 are against teams that are below us. One of them is at the very bottom. That's UNC Wilmington at the end. Yeah. And then of course we got to go to Hofstra. And so to today's point, man, we have a really good chance of guess what? Ending up 1, 2, or 3. We still have a chance to be number 1.
They placed it near the bottom of the conference, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Even though we had all that chaos last year. So that's one thing.
Who's next thing is Troy? Who's the name of the head coach? Give him some props. Who's the head coach?
Hal Clifton.
All right.
That's the head coach for our volleyball.
And shout out to Tyne Ross. She is true freshman, playing out of her mind.
She should be player of the year.
She's my almost homegirl. She's
going to win Rookie of the Year for sure. She's already won it 4 times. She won it 4 times, and she won Co-Offensive Player of the Week this week.
Absolutely.
Balling out of her mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. The second thing I have is guess what? Men's basketball starts on Monday. We're taking on Cheney, I think at 7 p.m. in the club. So that's that. And then the last announcement I have is, man, listen, Tuesday, November 12th at 7 p.m. In Club Corbett, the University of North Carolina comes to town. We are ranked.
Big. Yo, That's got to be listen. That's got to be all hands on deck. Blue Death Valley gold out. We got to go crazy. You know, this is the one time where what's crazy man Randall with the wig. We need him in attendance. we need a battle between Troy and Randall to see who can get their side of the stadium crazier. Because we need everybody in for that one. I can't wait for that one, Joe. That's.
Oh yeah, well, Miss T might come in there and take that title. Okay. So
that's right.
What I do want to say, so yeah, Tuesday, November 12th, it's our first women's home game. Okay. We're ranked number 17 in the mid-major top 25 preseason, and University of North Carolina is number 15 in the big rankings. Okay. So listen, I've looked at both our rosters. They're not much taller than we are. So it might just come down to talent and how well we support our young ladies in Corbin. So, man, really, everybody, man, as many people as we can, let's please come out and support our young ladies. Very much like what we did in the WNIT last year. That's all I got.
Are the single tickets on sale yet, Craig?
No, you got to sell the season tickets.
You can get tickets. The season tickets haven't come in yet. I talked to the ticket office earlier this week. But yeah, you can go ahead and get tickets for any of these games right now.
Also, so single games are available. All right, because I checked the site. I ain't seen them. I want to go. I got a couple games on my docket. I want to go to when the ladies play Norfolk. Because it's the day after the Celebration Bowl. So I'm going to drive down from Atlanta and head over there to go to the game.
So guess what? Guess what? They are ranked higher than us in the mid.
Yeah, they're 15th, right? 15th or 14th. But they're good. They're legit. Norfolk State's legit. But that's going to be number 1 versus number 2 in ladies HBCU basketball. That's going to be a heck of a game.
I'm putting our 5 up against their 2, and we're going to win that game, especially if we're going to be in Corbin.
All right. Home for the bench. All right, Dougie.
Kudos to the athletic department, Brian Holloway, Earl Hilton, as well as Shamika for the job they did on getting that information out there. Again, we're in the knowledge and we kind of discuss this stuff every day, but to provide that information for the everyday fan or those who, like you said, are out for blood, to present us in a positive manner and, just kind of put that information out there. I think that was great. Hopefully, Aggie fans are satisfied. Hopefully, Samaj is somewhat satisfied, being that he had the inception concept to place it in Mr. Hilton's brain there. Yeah. But no, great job by those guys for getting the message out. And my last note for this week is make sure you go vote.
I went to early voted yesterday at the Craft Center on the north side, Yanceyville. Took me not even 12 minutes. I've timed myself. Took me 12 minutes. But Dougie, it's like a Scantron test. It's not like the whole push the button. You got like physically, and like if I get so nervous because they say if you miss a little bit of the oval, it might not get counted. So you got to make sure you have a complete circle in your Scantron. But yeah, it takes 12 minutes during daytime. Let's go at your lunch. All right, Craig, what you got?
I'm going to give a shout out to Tori Moten, won the HBCU SAS Women's Golf Championship week before last. Outstanding accomplishment. And men's golf is off to a good start. Finished third in their first tournament of the year. So the non-revenue sports are doing well. Men's and women's basketball is getting ready to crank up, and I think everybody's picked. The women obviously picked first, but I think the men's team is going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I'm hearing that. So
I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. If we can stay healthy, and with what we have as far as improved inside play and guard depth, this could be a top 4 team, easily be a top 4 team this year. So. Looking forward to it. The winter should be a lot of fun. Winter be a lot of fun. Women marry. Hey, coming in this weekend, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Listen, man. I've been telling Aggie fans for weeks now. Focus on everything else that's going on. We know what the football. I'm keeping it up with y'all. I think no. I mean, look, it's what it is, man. We know what some of the challenges were. Whether you agree with what the decisions were made or not, this is where we're at. We got too many successful programs right now to ignore them. We got too many.
But listen though, put the ball down, man. We went to Richmond, 30-point underdogs.
If we were on the road, I would feel more comfortable. I haven't seen enough from home to give me confidence they have a shot to win this game. They've played better on the road than they've been at home during the Brown era. That's just my opinion, and the numbers show it.
Oh yeah, and I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to do a highlight, so I do want to shout out what's his name? Who's number 34, Dougie?
Henry Daniels.
Henry Daniels.
Yeah.
Henry Daniels went crazy last week against Campbell. Had 2 sacks and also a forced fumble, and he was playing like a man possessed. So don't want to overlook some of the guys who are still out there balling. A lot of guys are balling. We just collectively can't get things going over the hump. Famby had some good throws there, and some receivers was doing some good things. So listen, this is not a awful team. We got some challenges, but there's a lot of guys out there who still love playing football, and you get a chance to come out there Saturday, support them. I don't think it'd be a waste of your time. But we gotta get out of here. I'm rocking my new shirt. Got in the mail. There you go, Tim Shropshire. Shropshire.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to his website, got some merch, man. Real nice, real comfortable. Y'all should go out there, support one of our guests. And of course, I want to also, we had that little firestorm with the social media controversy. You can't ban a snowman, but sometimes it's get kind of good to sit back and see how people react. Who's really kind of waiting for your downfall. But I will say this.
Everybody.
Exactly. Yeah,
this is like A&T. That's why folks are taking it back today. Everybody.
What Jay-Z say, when the grass is cut, the snakes will show, right? So people was coming out there. They was trying to jump on the bandwagon. But I will say this, Doug, one person who got my back, I'm talking about, she stayed 10 toes down the whole time, and that was it's Venice. It's Venice. It's Venice. One thing, if I don't care who got me, it's Venice got me, and I appreciate your support. She was out there fighting for me in the Twitter streets, and I'm sorry to let you down, make you have to worry about some dumb stuff, but it was good to see who stood tall in that moment of darkness. We was almost canceled, guys. we made it back. Now, but guys, look, we gotta get out of here. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us for this special Blue Left After Dark. And thanks Earl Hilton for even putting that together. You didn't have to do it. And so we'll look forward to supporting the university and the athletic department in more ways moving forward. But until then, see some of you guys Saturday at the tailgate. And then next week we'll have another. We're going back to Inside the Valley next week because we got to get back to this. I know y'all want to hear these 3 plays, so I promise you next week is Inside the Valley. But until then, this is for Blue Hayes, Dave, Troy, Doug Brown, and CT, the president. I am Samaj Morris. Blue Death After Dark. See you next time. Peace. Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.